At least 2 people died in tent fires in downtown Edmonton last month. 3 more were seriously injured. At the last police commission meeting, Edmonton Police Chief Dale McFee said the city needs to take action on encampments. And the chief joins us this morning. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Mark. Nice to see you.
So there are all kinds of encampments downtown. We see a lot, smaller ones around the city as well. What is your main concern?
Well, I mean, right now it's safety. Obviously, it's getting cold. When I say safety, I don't say any one particular dimension. You mentioned the fires. I mean, we've got first responders pulling people that are literally burnt to death out of fires. That's not okay. As cold weather gets, you got nylon tents. Then you obviously have some of the people that are in those encampments, criminal activity that's preying on some of the vulnerable population. You've got public health concerns. I've worked parts of 3 shifts here over the last few weeks just to go out there and talk to people and see what is going on. And the reality is last 2 years, we went from 6,500 encampment complaints to just about 15,000. This is not okay. This needs a different approach. These things all need to come down. We need to get assessments for people. Obviously empathy and accountability. It's not a one dimension. It's not one particular agency that is totally responsible for this. I feel strongly that we need, the help from the province to come in and to provide some of the support that we need to get some of this done. But I think first and foremost for me is looking at from a public safety is something needs to be done now. This can't wait. We know it's going to get colder. We've been pretty fortunate, but yet there's fires almost daily. We went and did a video with some of our drones as an encampment takedown, talking to the people, both, the people that are leaving the encampments as well as the first responders, all different first responders there. And I think everybody's frustrated and everybody knows that something different needs to be done. And, I think that's my focus here. Let's get the right people in the room. Let's get leadership and let's do some health assessments.
It seems that taking the encampments down, though, is almost pointless because they're just going to go back up again, right, somewhere else.
Well, that's the whole point. It can't happen. You got to take them down and keep them down.
But where do the people go?
Well, I mean, right now the shelters aren't full. When I was talking to the shelters, but these aren't all housing issues. Like, I want to be very, very clear. This is not just housing. A lot of these
Talking
people...
about addiction and...
mental health and addiction. You're talking about criminal activity. You're talking about public health issues. And the reality is if we just allow it, it's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. And as you mentioned, sometimes the encampments come down, and then there's people giving them tents to go somewhere else and put it up. And I think I want to really emphasize it's not okay. It's not safe to camp outside right now in these environments. Period. So. Doing an assessment, figuring out what is the problem we're trying to solve might be a good idea, because we've all heard numbers. The numbers of homeless are up, they're down. We've housed 1,800, yet the numbers go up. I'm not sure anybody really understands all the dimensions, and the way to do that is you got to get a ground zero, and you actually have to have the right leadership and the right people there to say we're going to do something different.
When you say the province needs to get involved, they are responsible for housing, and is that one of the first steps?
Put it this way, everybody's got a hand in this, right? Because health is provincial or federal.
Right.
Social services the same way. Policing is obviously municipal. Fire is municipal. But the reality is it's going to need all hands on deck. It's not one-dimensional, and I think that's what I mean by that. Province has been very good speaking with us, providing help. They've addressed a lot of the safety issues and giving us the capacity to build out to what we need to address. And I just think this whole thing needs a different approach than we currently have. And it's not critical of people. It's not working. And the reason I say that is just look outside, and I mean, they're everywhere, and it's not fair for businesses that are having trouble running businesses. Some of those fires you mentioned are right up next to a business. One of them had $100,000 of damage to the business. I mean, it affects everybody, and it's time to do something about it. But it also starts with, to your point, is we can't just allow it to go back up the next day.
Well, where do you begin then? Why hasn't everybody been coming together to solve this? Because it's not like this is brand new.
Well, I think, and again, I'm not trying to be critical, and I want to be very clear.
No, you can go ahead and be critical.
But blaming each other doesn't help. How about we just do an assessment? Let's get every encampment down if we start there, find out what we're trying to solve, empathy. People need health. Let's get them into health. People need housing. I think what you're going to find, though, based on a lot of the conversation I have, this isn't all a housing issue like we think it is. We've got a lot of people here that are from outside of the city. We've got people from all over the province, all over parts of the country, and I don't think we really have a really good understanding of what it is we're just trying to solve, and we're trying to do one-dimensional approaches, for instance, just housing alone and saying that's going to solve this. I had that file for a government. I think you and I have talked about it before. I could probably say with 100% confidence that housing alone isn't going to solve this problem.
Well, there's many aspects of that when we talk about wraparound services that people need. Even when you do house them, people have a lot of needs that are beyond because they can't handle it.
100%. And,
right.
If you break that down even go further, how about we start with an assessment?
Yeah.
Because right now, you and I, as much as we hear it and we're trying to solve this problem, we're not health experts. We have a good idea of what that takes, but we need some health assessments. We need, basically social services assessments. For us in policing, we have a responsibility here. Obviously, we know there's gang members that are preying on our vulnerable down there, and certainly that's our responsibility. And I think it's all hands on deck. What I mean by that is we all have different authorities to solve this problem, but we need to use them all.
What kind of position does it put your officers in to have to deal with this kind of situation? They're not social workers.
It's frustrating. I mean, it's very frustrating, but it's frustrating for several reasons. And there's nothing more frustrating when, you've got a lot of men and women in our organization that are moms and dads as well. And when you're going pulling young people out of fires that have burnt to death, that's not okay. And it's just saying that we can't do anything about it and leave the encampments up to see another one and then another one. To your point, there's been 5 people, 3 really, really seriously injured, 2 deceased. We have some ideas. We're in some good discussions right now, trying to do some incident command around it. But I think the point that I'd emphasize here is time's now. Time's ticking. We've been fortunate with the weather here, and that's going to be our focus to bring some new ideas and some new solutions to this table with obviously our partners. This isn't. I don't want anybody to think this is just police. This is going to need more than police.
Chief, thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark, and appreciate what you do.
That's Chief Dale McFee with the Edmonton Police Service.